Hi everybody, Russ and the West End Network. Hope you're all safe and well. If you're new around here, give it a like, give it a comment, give it a share, give it one of those bloody good subscribes. Thank you so much. If you're new around here, welcome. Where have you been? Happy Monday. Weekend goes too quick, didn't it? Goes too quick. But the World Cup has kicked off. Obviously, England were on earlier today. We did a bit of a preview, actually, before the England game. We had the guys from the 12th Man who have recorded a song called Stick Another Star on the Shirt. And it's doing my brain in because it's literally what I'm singing it all the time, which is a good song. It's a song that's the right thing to do in it. But they're a couple of West Ham boys, so check it out. There's a link into the video from last week, from the lunchtime today. But England has kicked off their World Cup campaign in style? Question mark. But I bring to you the Hammers headlines in association with the KUMB.com boys. 3 transfer rumours, although I'm trying to find the fourth one. There we go. 3 transfer rumours today. And to be honest, it should be like the greatest hits, because that's all seems to be rumoured with at the moment, is like old transfer rumours being regurgitated. It's like, now that's what I call transfer rumours volume 1. That's what basically is. I might actually retitle it that, actually. So let's start off with an old classic. Youssef En-Nesyri. It's not a transfer window without Youssef En-Nesyri being touted for West Ham. But apparently West Ham could be set to reignite. It must be one of those blowable candles that you blow out and it comes back to life again, because that's what it seems to be. A long-standing forward target. According to a report in Spain, or several reports in Spain, David Moyes made several unsuccessful attempts to acquire the services of Youssef En-Nesyri back in 2021. Despite knocking them about, Seville are now willing to sell and apparently are laying out, in terms of one report, the red carpet for West Ham to sign the Morocco international, and reportedly willing to accept a move in January. Should he excel in the World Cup, he would extend his number of suitors that currently sits at just a good lineup at the moment. But I think a good World Cup makes a massive difference. Look at Enner Valencia. Scoring 2 goals yesterday, didn't he, against Qatar? A good World Cup can make a massive difference in potential suitors for En-Nesyri. But the Irons will surely be included given their emergence throughout the report. Although he's had a bad start to the season, he scored 2 goals in just 4 Champions League games this term. He's shown his goal-scoring prowess in the past, however, and despite having yet to recapture it, his 24-goal campaign in the 2021 season still remains fresh in the memory. Although when he came to London Stadium, I think he wasn't the goal threat. I didn't think. I found he was. I actually thought he was a lot taller. I didn't think he was as tall. I thought he was a shorter guy, but he was quite tall. But I think with En-Nesyri, I think he's I don't know how old he is, but 25. He's 25. God, but we've been linked to him about 3 or 4 years. Crazy. We've obviously Gianluca Scamacca, Michael Antonio. We've already got sort of strikers in there, so you get another guy in there potentially. There would be less pressure on him to deliver, maybe, because we've got backup. He's not a one and only striker, but we definitely need some more firepower. That's for sure. He's 6'3". And he'll be playing for Morocco, obviously, in the World Cup. We'll be watching that anyway, because you've got Naif Aguerd as well, who's part of the Moroccan side. That may be a reason why it's been sort of rehashed a little bit. And he's currently, I think, En-Nesyri's got 14 goals in 49 appearances internationally. So we'll see what happens. But we had Zapata on Friday, and now we've got En-Nesyri. Just waiting for Idoka Johnson, Carlos Bacca, and Sean White-Phillips. Let's move on. Let's talk about Tete. So we reported a week or so ago that we were looking at maybe bringing in Tete in the January transfer window. But according to Calcio Mercato, they claim that it's us, Brighton and Leicester who are in for the 22-year-old signature. It was suggested that West Ham would have to reach an agreement to buy the player's current loan deal with Lyon first if he wanted to sign him in January. But they claim that Tete's situation at Lyon has gone downhill since Laurent Blanc took over. And as a result, the Hammers could try and snap him up and also face competition with the likes of Brighton and Leicester. The only fly in the ointment is Brighton are probably, I'd suggest, maybe more pole position than us, because Roberto, the Brighton manager, managed Tete during his time at Shakhtar Donetsk. So you can see they may well have the upper hand. But in spite of that, Moyes may be able to pull this one out of the bag. He's rapid. He is rapid, and he's a player that would excite West Ham fans. He brings genuine pace, which is something we don't have. He would bring pace on an option. He can play both wings. I think he's played as a 10 as well. He's one of these diverse players that Moyes likes, but he brings that sort of sense of excitement. And if all reports are meant to be believed that Luizão is going to be our first signing of another Brazilian player, it was the age of Czechs, wasn't it, before? Now it looks like it's going to be the age of the Brazilians, with him and Pablo Maia we've been linked with, and Jeffrey Eno. Remember that, because Jeff, plenty of Brazilian players we've been linked with as well. So that might be the way we're moving. Who knows? And lastly, another rumour that was reported back in, I definitely remember, last transfer window for sure. But apparently West Ham are interested in signing Fulham defender Tosin. I'm not going to pronounce his surname because it's really... I'll go on in. Adarabioyo. Tosin, as I'm calling him. And that could spell, obviously, the end of Craig Dawson's time at West Ham. Obviously, Luizão coming in, potentially. He's 20. He hasn't got experience in the Premier League. He'll probably start life off in the under-23s, I'd imagine. But Tosin, I was impressed when he came, obviously, although we beat Fulham, one of our rare victories this season. He's a big lad. And former Man City player as well. So he's got that sort of footballing prowess that you get from coming through the academy at Man City. According to Claret and Hugh, the Hammers could look to acquire him after the World Cup and could pay around 16 million quid for him. Obviously, they bought Issa Diop, who hasn't really set the world alight, to be honest, for Fulham. His contract is set to expire in June next year. So again, one of those situations where the contract's coming to the end, so he can technically sign for a European club from January the 1st on a pre-contract, but maybe you've got to get something out of him rather than nothing. So maybe the club will look to sell him, maybe Fulham, in January. He's made 88 appearances for the West London club, 3 goals, 2 assists. He's been sort of a starring centre-back role for Marco Silva's side this season. His average score rank, in terms of who scored, is a 6.6 match rating. Still ranks well ahead of all the West Ham centre-backs, apart from Kurt Zouma, interestingly. And obviously he would join a long list of centre-backs, which mean potentially that Craig Dawson... And what I like about Tosin is he's got Premier League experience, he's quick as well, and also he will give us some extra height in that sort of set piece. He's a big lad, so I don't think it's a bad deal at all if we can get him. I prefer him to a Michael Keane, that's for sure, and it probably costs obviously maybe 5-6 million quid more. But one for the future. You've got to think Adam. You've got to think Angelo Ogbonna. He'll be retiring at the end of this season, or be leaving West Ham at the end of the season. Whether it's retiring, who knows? Craig Dawson wants to leave. We know that. And then that leaves us really. You've only 2 recognised centre backs, although you do have Tito Kira, who can play right back and centre back as well. So 3 maybe. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with him. I really like him as a player, and I think he would develop in West Ham. I think West Ham fans would really like him as well. Seem to like to play the ball on the floor as well, which is, again, a really key component, I think it seems now, of our centre-backs, particularly the likes of Naya Figueiredo as well. So we'll keep an eye on that one. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen, today. That's it, my friends and family. If you're around on Thursday, we will actually on Wednesday we've got an X-Hammer, My Hammers 11, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. And on Thursday, we've got blockbusters for the Iron Support Back Irons Point Food Bank's charity game show. We've got Ryan, we've got X. It's going to be a real laugh, and it'll be just after Paqueta probably stars against for Brazil against Ghana at 7 o'clock, and then come over and have a giggle with us and raise some money and raise a profile again for the Irons Point Food Banks, particularly in this Christmas time where there's no games on, obviously, because of the World Cup, and then obviously most of the funding for the food banks for the group comes through from matches, from the bucket shaking that John and his team do. It's also the time where it's critical, where most people need the food banks over Christmas as well, with kids breaking up and things like that. So anything we can do, and John's got a great deal with a supplier. So, for a small amount of money, we can create a big amount of food, if that makes sense, in terms of delivering to the banks. So anything we can do would be fantastic. So take care, everyone. Stay safe, stay warm, enjoy all the football. Hopefully not getting in too much fatigue just yet of Gary Lineker. A little bit for me. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. Ta-ta, my friends. Bye-bye.